Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, in the last 6 weeks or so, i.e. the first part of 2023, we've had almost radio silence from Bethesda on the topic of Starfield. However, what we have had is a whole bunch of leaks and rumours, supposedly on release dates and things like that, most of which have gone on to be completely debunked. So I thought for today we'd have a quick wrap-up on what the heck is going on and try and sort of summarise where we actually are at the moment. So, let's get on with this. So, we've got a whole load of stuff that's happened recently. Most of what's coming out is leaks, rumours and hints, so there's going to be some speculation in this one, so take everything with a pinch of salt. We might as well start with what little official stuff from Bethesda we actually do have, as that's quite sensible. So, earlier in the year, we had the showcase for a bunch of Bethesda Xbox games. Obviously, Starfield was not present. They said it wasn't going to be present beforehand, so we knew about this. What they have also said here is that there will be another showcase specifically focusing on Starfield later. Obviously, that's pretty vague. So the current thinking and the likely scenario, and we'll get to the ins and outs of why in a minute, is it's still probably on track to release in June. So, obviously before then, it's now, mid-February, so my guess on this one's probably going to be March. So, part of the reason for that is basically the timing. Obviously, we've got sort of 2 weeks before March anyway, and then a little bit further on, so maybe mid-March, about a month, because Scalzi, one of the major coverers of news and rumour and information related to Starfield, going to put some links down below to his stuff, you should definitely check it out, dug out on the Discord some interesting post from Vault of Daedalus, who is one of the UK community managers, primarily for Fallout 76, but also for Starfield as well. Good chap. And basically what he said is, the reason we haven't heard anything since about the upcoming Starfield showcase is they're still working on it, in short. I'll show you the post, I'll throw it up now and you can see it for yourself. But essentially, they haven't put a date out because they haven't finished making the thing, working on it, put it together. Chances are this showcase is basically going to be functionally a video that they live stream. Much like the showcase was back in January and other things along those lines. You know, they do all the work, they record all the stuff, they edit it together into a video, and then they stream the video out. Basically how these things work. And putting all this stuff together and getting people in place and footage and so on and so forth, and making sure they cover all the beats they want to cover in the right way. There's a whole lot goes into it. These things take time. They've got people in various parts of the world to coordinate. So, yeah, basically they're working on it is the answer. And obviously this is going to be a big thing, so it's going to take a little while to put together, but it is coming and they are on track to get that out. The likely date, again, we'll get back to this, but being June, there's a decent chunk of time in between now and then, 4.5 months, so, you know, they've got a bit of time to finish it off yet. The tone of this post that Vault of Daedalus has put up on what appears to be Discord, anyway, I can't find it myself, so hence why I'm quoting Scalzi here. But the tone of this does seem to be that it's a little way off. I think if it was going to be in the next couple of weeks, there'd be a different tone to it that implies it'd be a bit closer than this particular post does seem to. So I'm going to say probably let's have a theory of about mid-March, which will then leave in what? April, May, so 2.5 months between that and probable launch of the game, which is long enough to do a decent bit of promotion. Remember, there's all of us a lot talking non-stop about Starfield. Constant hype, stuff all over the internet. It comes up on Twitter's trending pretty much every day to some degree or other for me. So once they drop a big concentrated marketing plan, even in a couple of months, that's more than enough to build up the hype that they need to have the game do well, I think. So yeah, that's my big theory on that at the moment. So sort of moving on from that, around release dates and stuff, I suspect release date will be announced at this showcase. It's the logical time to do it. There isn't really any other logical time to do it, so that's probably where. We've had a number of theoretical leaks, most of which have been debunked in the last few weeks regarding this. So with the last showcase regarding Redfall and Forza and ESO and the other games that they covered, people were looking at when Xbox and Bethesda are releasing games between now and June, and they basically said, there's a gap here being March. There's a lot of speculation there going, is it going to come out in March then, seeing as there's a big blank spot here? It's the middle of February now, so I think we'd be fairly confident that it's not coming out then. We'd have heard about it by now. And had the showcase if that were to be the case. It also doesn't line up with having the whole first 6 months as a potential release window. Why tack the second quarter on if you think you're going to hit the first quarter. But we also had a supposed leak from, I think it was CD Keys, website that resell Steam keys, so with a date in that window as well, in March. The general consensus is, if anybody's got the date, it's not going to be them. They're too far down the chain, really, to be a likely place to have and then leak an official date. Obviously, it doesn't line up with the rest of the marketing we do and do not have at the moment either, so March is pretty unlikely. There was another leak, supposedly, from a more reliable storefront, but I don't know if this is entirely just made up or if it was an actual thing that was scheduled towards the end of June. But it looks like this was only spotted by one person, which makes it a bit fishy. And it also looks like it might just be a case of they've pulled a placeholder date from somewhere else and then time zones happened and it gave it its own day. So that's all a bit weird, but there's no additional confirmation whatsoever, and the stuff on the particular storefront I'm talking about, which is GOG, CD Projekt Red's own storefront, everything on there has since been pulled off, so there's basically no way to really confirm anything of this. It seems like it's just a placeholder date that went up and then came back down again. So, yeah, don't read too much into that one either. We'll hear it when we hear it. However, what is slightly more reliable is another piece of news that has come out via Jez Corden of Windows Central, who is a reporter who quite frequently covers Xbox and Bethesda and so on and so forth, and seems to have a bit of an inside track on this because he seems to have been either right or very, very close on several predictions in the past. And he's a legit journalist as opposed to somebody who's basically not. So this guy seems to have some information on the likely release date. And shout out to Lone Vault Wanderer for spotting this on a live stream that Jez Corden featured, and also for doing some good legwork and reaching out. So Lone's details down below if you want to have a look at his stuff, definitely worthwhile as well. So basically the gist of what came up there was Corden seems to think that the word he's hearing from Bethesda is that it's still scheduled for June. He's got personal opinions that it might get delayed and stuff like that, but that's just his own personal hunch. It's not backed by any evidence. The reason he's not given an official story on this or statement on it's going for June is because it's coming from inside and somebody who should know from the sound of things, but it's not backed up by additional confirmation. So it looks like it's probably still on schedule for June, which lines up with basically everything else we've had, but it's still not official. It just seems to be the likely current target. And it fits with basically where the scheduling is at the moment. So, I have previously expressed an opinion regarding June on my own theory, which is basically that they were going to pick up the marketing plan that they already had in place prior to last June, when it was initially delayed, and just move it towards the new release date. Basically, rather than binning months and months of hard work and the expensing that would incur. So, have they done that? Have they not? It looks like there is, given that time is getting closer and closer, and if the showcase is going to be a little while out, a lot of what's going on, or was going on a year ago, has probably been binned, and the rest of it has been seriously compressed. Obviously, the showcase is new, so this is something that they will have been working on in recent months, probably just since the start of the year, maybe the end of last year. But it completely scuppers the old marketing plan, or massively changes it anyway, so my theory is probably not holding up there, but everything else still seems to be leaning towards that June release. We haven't had a delay. The closer we get, the less likely it is to be delayed, really, in some ways. If there was going to be a big delay, I think we'd have heard about it sooner. Obviously, they delayed it last year by 6 months, and we heard about that 5 months out from launch. A massive delay, they'd know that they were going to need it early, basically, which is why they delayed it so far in advance, as opposed to, delaying it in October, something like that. So I think if it was going to get a big delay, we'd be hearing about it already. So the closer we get, I think the less likely it is to be delayed, and the less likely it is to be delayed by a lot. Of course, there is probably a point somewhere out there where it starts to go the other direction, but that's the big theory at the moment. So we've got the showcase that is coming up soon-ish, but they're not ready yet, so maybe at least a month, I think, probably before that comes up. We've got a whole bunch of leaks and rumours and supposed it's coming out here, most of which have turned out to be rubbish. But the stuff that seems to be reliable still puts it at the end of their initially predicted 6-month window, which makes it June, and also puts it in line with their comment back last June of having it out before the next Xbox showcase, which will be in June. So everything's still lining up on that, rumours notwithstanding, and it looks like we'll be getting a showcase soon-ish. Just, not soon enough. So, as I've said a few times on streams and elsewhere, we're kind of sitting in limbo at the moment, waiting on more news to break, and sort of clawing at every snippet of information we can get in a desperate gasp for the oxygen of information, I suppose. But doubtless we'll hear something soon enough. It's cool that we've got the odd whisper here and there, but it's also slightly... I'm not going to go so far as saying worrying. I'm sure Bethesda are working on it. But disappointing might be a better word, that we're not hearing a great deal through official channels at the moment. On the other hand, in the past, as I'm sure you guys are well aware, Bethesda's thing has been to announce late, have a short marketing period, usually about 5 months, and then release the game. Since they've become part of Microsoft and Xbox, the tendency swung the other way a little bit, presumably the Xbox influence coming in there, presumably. Just speculating, but still. And look how that has panned out. The first game that they do the Xbox way, they've had to delay, and there's all of this going on. So it seems more likely to me that what they'll do is say, yeah, this hasn't worked so well, we're going to shut up and make sure we're in place and everything's where we want it, and then we'll just go crazy for a little period of time and then release. Basically, the Bethesda way. And personally, I'm more in favour of that. I think it means people are less likely to start pulling out misinformation and putting misinformation together, so when the game launches it's more likely to be closer to what they said it was rather than what people thought it might be. Anyway, that's a whole separate ramble, and I'm going to stop before I go on too far. So yeah, hopefully in a few weeks, my guess about a month, we'll have a big dump of Starfield information, and my bet is for about 2.5 months you will not be able to turn around without stumbling over Starfield trailers or posters or ads or promo, whatever. I think it'll be everywhere for a short period of time, and then it'll release. But we shall see. So, I hope you guys found this useful and informative. I hope it sort of updated you on where we're sitting as of mid-February and what's going on or not going on or might be going on around Starfield. If you're interested in subsequent news, then please do consider dropping subs and likes. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in other BGS games, well, you're in the right place. So do check out the other stuff I'm doing as well. As I said before, links down below if you want to check out the other guys that I referenced in this video. Yeah, they do good work, so give them a shout. And like, subs, social media links, merch store, all that good stuff down below. If you're interested, channel memberships, you can support the channel that way. Massively helps out. Got live streams as well, playing Fallout 76, and we're playing Red Dead 2 as our sort of secondary B game at the moment, which has been really, really good fun. So if you want to join us for that, keep an eye out. Notification bell and all that, I very much appreciate. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.